So my name is Jennifer Grant. I'm the CEO of the Early Learning Coalition. Hopefully you all know me by name and face by now. It seems like we've been doing these virtual meetings for quite some time now, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us. Today we have a really exciting partnership and resource to share with all of you that I am just extremely honored to say that we are the first in the state of Florida. And our friends from MarcoPolo will laugh at me, but that was my goal, is for Seminole County providers and the coalition to be the first to utilize this resource. So I will let you know that there are lots of coalitions on our heels, and I want to be able to find a way to use this resource to really blow our families out of the water as far as their access and their resource to really high quality content. Just to give you a little background information, some of my colleagues and I were at a conference last fall and had the opportunity to hear from presenters from MarcoPolo. And they are offering a resource that is unlike any other that you have had access to in the past. It is using technology and curated content that's developmentally appropriate to connect with children. It's a way that for those of us old schoolers in the house, we struggle with how to use technology appropriately, and MarcoPolo has found the way to use a tool that our children are going to grow up with and use it in a way that helps them have developmentally appropriate experiences and relationship building, and really fits with all of our developmental expectations in the classroom. So I am here. We have some housekeeping that we'll go over a little bit later today, some information to share with you, but the bulk of the meeting today is dedicated to sharing with you MarcoPolo for educators and families. And I am going to actually pass the platform over to Nermeen Darshoush, if I got it right, Nermeen, to introduce the MarcoPolo family. And we'll ask everyone if you can please just we'll put everybody on mute so that we can make sure to hear everything. And if you have questions, please put them in the chat box, and we will do what we can to get through the conversation as we move forward. So we'll actually pass over control, Nermeen, if you would like, to you, or we can run your deck, whichever you think would work best.
I think Nomi is on the call, and she's controlling the tech for today.
Wonderful.
You guys have access to share your screen whenever you're ready.
Perfect.
Share our screen.
Yeah. Okay. Let me share. Can you guys see that?
So welcome, MarcoPolo, and you're up. Thank you.
All right, Nomi, it says provider town hall meeting. Let's see our MarcoPolo deck.
No, I was pulling up our deck. Let me try again.
Yep, I think somebody shared before they beat you to it.
Okay. Perfect. Let me do that. Hang on.
And while Nomi is pulling that up, I want to thank everybody for coming today, and thank Jennifer for the introduction. I was in the middle of it. I was like, so I hope somebody's recording this because I want those exact words. I was like, that's some good wording right there. We put you in touch with our marketing department. And yes, we were happy to hear that you kind of weren't scared to take the first leap. And a lot are following. We've heard a lot of like, what is Seminole doing? What is Seminole doing? That's good to be kind of the leader, the trendsetter. And I think the decision was made very carefully. And we'll show you today how that decision was made and some of the components that Jennifer was talking about. In order to do that, I'm going to introduce our team and some people on the call. We have our co-founder Justin on the call with us. You can say hi. We have Ray Chow, who is our VP of strategic partnerships, and you can see from my profile, Ray's profile, Nomi's profile is also on the call. We are a team of educators and people who are really studied children and have dedicated our lives to understanding how children learn and how children learn best. And that kind of is very important to us at MarcoPolo. During any kind of interview process, onboarding process, we always ask, have you worked with children? Have you been in the classroom? Have you been there? Have you done that? And that is really important to us because what we're going to show you today is a result of being there and doing that. Because when you're on the ground and you learn these things, you learn what is it that teachers are doing, what is it that teachers need support with, and what are some realistic things that we think that we can make an impact almost immediately in the classroom. And so I myself am Nermeen Dashush. I'm the Chief Learning Officer at MarcoPolo. I've been with MarcoPolo since the beginning, helping shape the content and any decisions around education to make sure that they are good for children, to say the least. I was a classroom teacher for over 10 years in New York City. And currently I'm a professor of early childhood education at Boston University, where I teach educational technology. I teach coursework in child development, and I teach in the teacher preparation program. So a lot of my work at MarcoPolo is taking all of that research that piles up and all of these articles, like with new pivotal research and research that's been sitting there, and making sure it's implemented at MarcoPolo Learning so that we are surrounded by best practices and research supported initiatives. So hopefully you'll see all of that today. And top of seeing all of that, you will hear all of that in the background because I have my children are home, but they're taking care of in another area. So yes, you'll hear some kids as background noise here as well. But about us, we have been around since 2013. So in many ways, sometimes we call ourselves like a tech startup, but we've been around for a while, and we kind of are well-formed and well-known globally in the field of early childhood educational content and digital content as well. We started working kind of direct to consumer. We are very popular in the App Store with over 10 million downloads. We build our whole platform and work around making sure that we nurture the curiosity of young children and making things that are developmentally appropriate and nutritious kind of for them, digitally nutritious. What we saw was a lot of educators approaching us saying, I want to use your stuff in the classroom, and even commenting on the App Store saying, is there something that we can use in the classroom, and so that's where we started creating things that, of course, you can use our app in the classroom, but we created an experience that's made for teachers, made for the classroom use. And we've gotten the attention of many strategic partners. We are partnered with Teaching Strategies, are partnered with Bright Horizons, Lightbridge Academy, and multiple Head Start programs nationwide. We are also, because I say this to be very fancy, nominated for an Emmy in 2019. And no, I didn't get to attend. We were all dressed and ready to go. And there was COVID, the COVID hit. So it's actually a purple carpet. I didn't get the chance to walk the purple carpet, but that is to say that we made sure that the footage that we use and all the selection of the footage was high quality. We didn't want to put something in front of children that we wouldn't watch ourselves. And that is also very important because we wanted to give teachers something that would actually be interesting for them to watch and parents to co-watch, because we know of the research that says if it's high quality and it's engaging, you want to just not only engage the child, but that ecosystem around the child as well. And that's what we did. So let's go to the next one and say, like, what is it that we do? And I'm going to focus today on showing you three of the major aspects of what we do that were really part of Seminole's decision to kind of go with MarcoPolo. One of it is that we create high quality, developmentally appropriate content, meaning that we create it for young children. We don't create it for like older children and adapt it later on. We don't, we have the young child and how young children are learned in mind at every step of the process. What we saw were teachers that were looking for developmentally appropriate content, video resources, and do you know where they end up? Where's your video resource? They're on YouTube. So we understand, right? This is not a judgment call. We understand that when looking for videos or things to support or visuals to support the curriculum, ending up on something that's familiar and available is what usually happens. 70% of teachers were using YouTube. we asked ourselves, how can we actually replace that behavior? So this is in many ways not even technology for those who don't want to use technology. This is just the right technology for people who are already using technology, but might not be using it as effectively and appropriately in the classroom as we want them to. And so we replace those behaviors, we support the teacher, and we provide not only video content, but we'll show you other content that helps support learning as well, and helps even promote strong pedagogical practices in the classroom. With that being said, we took a really close look at class and how can we contribute to class and class scores. And the two components we're going to focus on today, obviously we have a whole class alignment and multiple components, but the two ones that really stand out for me are one that is focused on using multiple modalities for young children. A lot of in the class is how are you presenting knowledge, information, content to children in multiple ways? Are you just talking about a goat without showing a picture of a goat and the child hearing a goat and seeing the goat? That doesn't really bring it to life for the child. So when we think about class scores and using multiple modalities, we actually need that visual content that the teachers were aiming to get on YouTube, but not doing it correctly. And so with that, we were able to provide that developmentally appropriate multiple modalities to address different learners. The other thing that you will see in class scores is teacher responsiveness, and that this conversation between child and teacher. And that is, we'll show you today some of the materials that will be able to address specifically that discourse between teacher and child, and very natural discourse as well. So a lot of what we do is kind of embedded into the experience, into the day. And we'll actually, what we're hearing from teachers is serves as embedded professional development into when using the platform. School readiness. We can go into a conversation about what that means and what it doesn't mean, school readiness, but what we do know is the reality is that children are going to be tested and assessed on certain foundational literacy and mathematical skills before entering kindergarten, and then throughout kindergarten as well, even before that. So we'll show you some of the ways that we embed a lot of those emergent reading and mathematical skills in the child's experience, and even the exposure to using the app. It allows the child to use a platform in which they're going to be assessed in later. So sometimes children know the content they're being assessed, but when they're asked to do it in something like the STAR alignment, the STAR assessment, they aren't familiar with the actual digital platform that they would use to show their knowledge. So a lot of the games and experiences and activities that we're going to show you today, the digital ones, have that alignment to a STAR assessment. And finally, family engagement, right? That is a big one that comes to mind, family engagement. How do we engage families? How do we leverage technology to engage families? And for that, it really means understanding who is the family, what is the profile of a parent right now? Profile of a parent, they are connected, they are on their phone, they have cell phones, they are using, or they're already using the technology, and how can we meet them there to support the learning of their children? And I think one more, but I'll kind of embed it through, will be around high quality resource to meet diverse learning needs. And I'll show you through that today too. All right, so with that, we will show not tell. And we will go into the educator platforms. We're going to freeze right there so I can show you that that is web-based. It's a website you go to. So no fancy apps that you have to download for this. The teacher can just go into a website, log in, and then click log in. And then once a teacher logs in, it should be very, very simple for the teacher to use. On the top, you will see a search button and then these categories, and then we'll show you also the filter feature. If you are looking at it and saying, oh, that's it, I can use that, then we did a good job, right? You should be able to use it. Again, we aim to replace certain behaviors and certain tools. We model this after things that teachers are comfortable with, like YouTube. And so one of the things I hope that Seminoles saw in us when making this decision is we don't want to give our teachers one more thing to learn. we want to support our teachers. We don't want to give them one more thing on their plate. And so something like this was part of a decision to take something off of their plate, to promote good pedagogical practices and resources in the classroom without overwhelming our educators. This supports our educators. And in order for that to be possible, it has to be very useful and it has to be easy to use. And usefulness, I know we see all of these topics with animals and all of these connections to curriculum, but we also hear, and when we listen a lot for topics when we're choosing them, social emotional learning. Social emotional learning is major in the classroom, and for so long technology has been kept separate from social emotional learning because we feel like technology happens in isolation and doesn't develop that social skills or emotional knowledge. And so we wanted to figure out a way to bring them together, to leverage a child's interest. Do you ever see children watching a video? They remember it. They're able to talk about it. They remember the characters. They remember the experiences. They are so engaged. Why can't we leverage that to teach them social emotional skills? And so I don't think we'll show breathing today, Naomi. I think we might have showed that one way too many times to some people in the group. But I'll talk over some of them. The majority of them are focused on two things, which hopefully you'll find very helpful. One, which is self-awareness, giving children strong vocabulary to be able to identify their feelings. And two, self-management, giving children very, very clear strategies to use to manage their feelings. So let's look at the one like frustration for today. And I want to show you kind of how we break it down, how we teach children, what are you feeling and what could you do with that? What we also hear from our educators is when they're watching these videos with their children, they're learning the tools themselves. So I use this in my teacher preparation classes when we're looking at like understanding children's emotions, and 10 out of 10 times teachers go, I didn't realize I can use that in the classroom. That's a tool that I'm going to use, not just teach it to children. So it's that embedded professional development as well. Let's take a look at frustration.
Frustration. Oh.
Is everything okay, Lily? You seem a little frustrated.
What does frustrated mean?
Frustration is the feeling of being upset when we can't do something.
That's exactly how I feel every time my castle falls down.
Stop for a moment, Lily. We all get frustrated when we try something, and no matter how often and how hard we try, we can't seem to do it.
Yeah, and getting frustrated probably doesn't help, even if it's how we feel inside.
Uh-huh. When you feel frustrated, remember the 2 B's. Break and believe.
Ah, so before you try again, you just need to take a break from whatever is making you feel frustrated.
Once you're calm, imagine calmly doing whatever was frustrating you before. Believe in yourself.
Slowly. I did it!
Yeah!
Yay! I think I need to take a quick break before I try again.
All right, and even realistically at the end, I need to take a quick break before I try again. Shows children that it doesn't always like work out so neatly, because if we don't show it to them realistically, then they're like, I did your breathing technique and I'm still not calm, right? We have to show them realistically that this takes time and practice. And I applaud Seminole for being one of the first to recognize that technology could be a very powerful tool to teach social emotional learning in the classroom. Children will remember videos. They will remember and recall. And I've worked with children where I say, what did you remember what tool they were using in the video, what they were doing? And immediately it clicks with them, saying like the breathing technique or break and believe. And it really comes together for them. The other areas we want to show you. So first, we clicked on a topic to see those videos that are available. We also have a filter feature so that teachers could actually just search by subject, because that's something we're comfortable doing as educators. Though we want to take a very integrated approach to everything, and we know that science and literacy and mathematics are integrated in the classroom, we also know that teachers are comfortable searching by certain topics that they might be more familiar seeing organized that way. So for example, if I'm a teacher, I might click on literacy, and then I click on alphabet knowledge. And here is one of my favorite things in the world, which is our alphabet art series, which is we were trying to figure out what is a fun way to teach handwriting and to teach letter sounds and to do kind of like storytelling aspects. And do you know what we came up with? So I'll check. Some of you, I want to see your faces if this resonates to you. Do you remember when we used to be in school and we used to doodle the letter S, like the super S? Anybody do that? It's like the team super S, where you do the lines and you connect them. And there was something about that united us all. We loved doodling and doing letters and then drawing and transforming them into things. And so we asked ourselves, how do we use that? How do we leverage that curiosity and doodling to teach children about like letters in the alphabet? Let's just click as an example of one. We won't watch it through. We'll just go to the sound off. So for example, if we can do, which one did you click on, Nomi? C? Yeah. So here's the letter C, and the artist draws the letter C. She teaches them the correct letter formation, starting at the top. The whole time she's talking and engaging with the child and asks them, what animal can you make with the letter C? And there she's drawing the letter C. Can you guess what she's gonna do? I was like, my mind is blown every single time I see this. And then she draws C all over again and turns it into a caterpillar. And then it comes to life and the caterpillar starts crying and we have to figure out why the caterpillar is crying. And it's such a whimsical way. And I know when I'm working with children and then they go C and they go, I said, what sound does C make? And they go, oh, like the crying caterpillar, right? They remember the crying caterpillar and all of a sudden they're going, and it's such a fun visual way of bringing that alphabet to life and through storytelling. So just one example of some of the ways that we kind of bring the joy to some of the things that we know they're going to be assessed with, like literacy skills. Another way of searching this could be through whatever. So I'll say this a couple of times. I'll say this twice. Whatever curriculum you're using, it fits into it, right? So we're not a curriculum provider. Whatever it is that you're using, it fits into it. So in order to facilitate that, we've identified some of the major curriculums that are around, and we're obviously always expanding on it. We have a strategic partnership with Teaching Strategies, the creative curriculum, but you'll see other curriculums and frameworks used here. And so there's no guesswork for teachers. So a teacher could say, I'm using the creative curriculum. The children are studying about buildings. Show me some videos that would go with buildings with that creative curriculum. Of course, all of this is aligned to their curriculum and approved by their curriculum officer as well. And so these videos help bring that curriculum to another level, in which if children are learning about buildings and they're studying buildings around them and they're building buildings in the block area, now they want to know, what about animal buildings? Do animals have homes? Do animals build homes? And so the teacher can then click on this and select the Beaver video. And then click on the Beaver video. Before we watch the Beaver video, I want to point out the importance of this, which is another great reason for using this type of technology. Children, their vocabulary and what we expose them to will not just impact their curiosity in the classroom and outside of the classroom, but also their ability to access other written materials and engage in other in literacy-based materials. For example, if I am reading a story about a beaver and a beaver building a home, a child might not be able to understand and comprehend and follow along with that story because they don't know what a beaver does and they don't know what a dam is and they don't understand why the beaver is gnawing wood. So while we're simultaneously teaching children about the world around them, we're also creating that, giving them vocabulary and creating access for them to actually build on those literacy skills as well down the line. So because of those comprehension skills, they need that context to be able to understand it. So let's take a look at the Beaver one, which is a prime example of I have no idea what is, you could tell me a million times that a beaver is building a dam and I had no idea what was going on down there. Just take a look to see like if you realize that's what was going on down there.
Beaver.
Beavers are found in Europe, Asia, and North America.
Wow! A wooden wall in the middle of the river? Who made that?
Beavers, Gorby. They build dams to trap water, which blocks the flow so they can easily float food and supplies to their home.
How did they get the wood into pieces?
They have very sharp teeth to gnaw tree trunks to the right size.
Doesn't that wear their teeth down?
Beavers are rodents. Their teeth grow back again and again and again, so they never wear down.
Wait a minute. They've built a dam, and now they're building something else underwater?
It's a lodge made of branches and mud. The lodge stops wolves and coyotes getting to them.
Beavers are really clever animals. Let's hear it for tooth power, people.
Honestly, I'm a grown woman and I'm sitting here researching these things. I didn't realize that there was another home. There was another like entry point, like going on under there. And so that's an example of like, wow, what is happening? Like, I want to learn more about the world around me and revealing things that obviously we want children to ask questions and interact with their environment, but there's a limit to that. We can't expect them to know if they're really curious what is happening inside a dam, right? They can't go and explore that. So this is another way to expand that curiosity. And you see the characters modeling question asking and promoting and building an environment in which children expressing themselves and asking questions is valued in the classroom. Obviously connected to the class assessment as well, really paying attention and nurturing that dialogue and discourse between teacher and child. Differentiated instruction was another point that was really important to Seminole and something that was really discussed. And so we asked ourselves, how can technology do that? One of the things that was immediate and that we knew we needed to do was make every single thing available in Spanish, so that at a click of a button, even if a teacher is able to find a high quality video and search so long on YouTube to find something, what we hear from teachers is, I can't find that in Spanish now. Now she's trying to scaffold and break down and translate for children in her class who are still learning English. And so at a click of a button, I can find that Spanish video, and then everything that they just watched is now translated to Spanish.
Castor. Los castores se encuentran en Europa, Asia y Norteamérica. ¡Wow! Un muro de madera en medio del río. ¿Quién hizo eso? Los castores, Gorby.
Right. Great for keeping children engaged and understanding. I myself was an English language learner in school, and I feel like I didn't know what was happening half of the time. And I'm a super curious child, but I couldn't engage in that curriculum. This is a way to, at a click of a button, keep children engaged, value their home language, and also and scaffold for them. So even if they watch in Spanish, maybe later on they can watch it in English with the class and they're able to make those connections. Another really exciting feature that we have that differentiates instruction, which is we're the only early childhood company that provides this version as well, is called a modified version. This is a really cool version where we took everything, we slowed it down, and then we added subtitles and we simplified the language. I won't tell you how it's used. I'd love for you to, while you're watching it and afterwards, to add in the chat what you think a teacher would use this in the classroom for.
Beaver.
Beavers live in Europe, Asia, and North America.
Wow! A wooden wall in a river. What is it?
It's a dam.
All right, what do you think? Adding in the chat, I'll give you a little teacher pause so that you could see what would you use that modified version for. All right, we got some chat shy. We're very chat shy. That is okay. That is okay. There we go. There we go. Vocabulary building, teaching about the content itself. Obviously, giving children the exposure to the content might be engaging certain children, being able to give them that exposure, the literacy aspect of it. There we go. The vocabulary building aspect of it. It could be that a child is an English language learner, but we don't have access to that language that they speak. But if you slowed down and modified it, that it could be great for scaffolding for younger children. Yes, absolutely. Younger children's age literacy. Seminole came through in the chat. Bravo. Absolutely. So many uses for this. So many creative ways that we see teachers using these 3 variations to differentiate instruction and using these variations in their instruction. But what we didn't, thank you, Stephanie, excellent point. What we didn't want is to leave things to chance. And so we provided, every single one of our videos has an educator guide to go with it. And we'll show you what that looks like. And it's simple because I will confess to you, I have never read a lesson plan from start to end. I won't do it. Maybe if it's like, I guess after page 4, I start skimming, right? And so, because I'm busy, we're an educator, we start skimming, but the idea that I would read a 20-page lesson plan every day for every single topic, we knew teachers don't have time for that, and it's not actually effective. So these are not lesson plans, they're educators' guides. They're meant to identify the key words and the skills. The second page is really, really focused on all of the discussion questions and getting that conversation going, right? So they're asking these open-ended questions you can ask before, during, and after the video. This is really, really important, obviously, based on research on how we can get that discourse and that dialogue going in the classroom, and of course, connected to class. When we want to see that teacher responsiveness and that back and forth with the children, but sometimes the questions aren't open-ended enough to get those conversations going, or the material might not be engaging enough to get those conversations going. And this is where we see the marriage of engagement and quality question asking. We also make suggestions for activities that the teacher can do in the classroom, so this could also be used as an idea bank. And finally, we also have family engagement suggestions. All of our family engagement suggestions are really simple because I myself am a mom, and I have maybe 1% energy when my children come home. And if I see the word diorama, I cry. Like I can, like I don't know. But also I don't want to do it because I know it's not effective. I also know the research behind all of these like convoluted projects are not actually effective in supporting my child. It ends up where the parent is doing most of the work. So what we asked ourselves, what is really truly important when we're asking families to engage with their children and engage with the content that their children are learning about? 1, it's knowing what their child is learning about. And 2, it's getting just a conversation going. So here, our family engagement is we learned about beavers. Beavers use wood. Point out things that are made out of wood in your house. What could you find, right? And then this is just very natural. You could do it sitting on the couch. You could do it walking around the house. It's part of their everyday. And so really, really, thank you, Lori, really, really low lift family engagement that we know research-wise is effective. And then Nomi will quickly also show you the printables that go with it, because we didn't want teachers, again, to end up on the internet trying to find things to support. So everything had to be available in one area for them to find. Okay. So now what will happen if I am a teacher and I'm working and the kids want to learn more? We learned about buildings. Now we learned about animal buildings. Now they want to dive deeper, and their rodent got their attention, and they want to learn about even more rodents. So we want to keep that conversation going. We want to keep it going in like technology centers in the classroom, and we want to keep it going at home. No matter where you're sharing it, whether it to be a device in the classroom or to at home, we created our share feature that a teacher can then say, okay, my students want to learn more about rodents. And so she types in the word rodents. She searches the word rodents. She selects some rodents. She even selects the one beaver that they learned about. Could be that a child is absent, or wants them to revisit the idea. And now she presses continue, super simple. And this is the coolest part. This is really cool. Then, right, we wanted to make sure that we're able to communicate directly to a child. So I'll turn it over to Nomi so she can show you what she could do with this for young children.
Awesome. Yep. So you can create a personalized video message with children that are interested about those rodents and say, hi class, remember when we were watching the beaver video today and we learned all about a beaver dam, but some of you heard that word rodents and you were saying, I know what a rodent is. Well, here are some other videos about rodents and I can't wait to hear what you've learned. And the teacher can add it to their playlist. That video that the teacher has recorded will pair with those other videos that the teacher has pre-selected. And then the teacher can easily share home with an individual or a group of students, like Nermeen said, in a small group technology center in the classroom, or to share home with a child at home. They choose the student that they want to share it with, press done, and that video and the videos that the teacher has selected will go straight to the student app.
And what's so cool about this is, one, you get to see your teacher's face when you open up the app, which is, I think, really cool. But also we're hearing from families that this is one of the few times they actually get to see their teacher, the teacher in the classroom. So if they open it up at home, they get a message from the teacher. They know it's personalized. They know it's not just a generic app that's been recommended at home. They see their child's teacher talking to them. They get a glimpse. For all those children are like, what do you do at school today? Nothing. But now you get to hear it from the teacher saying, this is what we did. It could actually be a recording of like the read aloud that was done at school, or maybe even like a shared reading poem that was done in school. So it really does, when we say kind of connects home to school, we're literally sharing a piece of that school into the home and bringing it with video, because parents, again, don't want to read another email. And if you do send an email, the child is not going to see that. So this is a clever way of also communicating directly to the child when they're at home. So what does it look like? Before we show you the child-facing platform and we leave the educator platform, we want to show you that everything that we showed you today can be toggled over into Spanish, and the whole user experience can be made into Spanish. For educators who are more comfortable learning and prepping and understanding those questions that we showed you in Spanish, they can click on the same resources when they're prepping their lessons. And this, when we were talking to our partners in our RMCA, was a partner that says, we need Spanish content. We said, we have Spanish content for the children. We need it for the teachers. And so I use that as an example of one. Obviously, we support the teachers, and we want to make sure that we leverage their strength and their native language also when they're preparing instruction. But two, Seminole is really important to us, because that type of feedback, if you're using it and you see that type of feedback that would help us even improve that experience. This is not a partnership where once we partner, we're kind of done. Nomi will and the customer success team will always be asking for that type of feedback of ways that we can improve this experience, because it's so very important to us that it's being used and it's being used correctly, and we're improving on areas where we could. So that improvement was, we need Spanish content, and in 3 months, everything for the educator platform on the user experience was translated into Spanish. Okay, so remember when Nomi recorded that message, made the playlist, she did it on the educator platform, and now we're going to go over to the child-facing platform to see what that looks like.
Hi class. We've been tracking our weather daily and observing changes. Today, we couldn't go outside because of all the rain. We had to practice our flexible thinking and come up with another plan.
So there's that teacher showing up. Honestly, I always say, like, if I saw my teacher in the supermarket, I would be really excited. Now I see my teacher on an app, like being a star. Like it's just amazing. And I pay more attention too, because it's not just like a paid actress that we hired to act like a skit in an app. This is your teacher talking to you through technology. And so what the child will see is the message from the teacher, and then they're taken to the class trip. This is something that the teacher has selected for that individual child or group or whole class that she wants them to watch when they go on the child-facing app. And so they get to go and explore those topics first. And after they're exploring those topics, they can learn more, they can delve deeper. And then after the teacher selected videos, we'll just pause over here. This is what it looks like when it's the child-facing platform. So this you see it's visually based. We created it so that a child doesn't need to be able to read to navigate through this, but there's obviously always words with narration coming up so that they're exposed to that. But what we wanted was a child to be able to navigate the whole experience without having to read anything. And so once they're finished with the class trip, the video that the teacher has selected, what we wanted them to do is be able to search and land and explore throughout the app and pick subjects that they are interested in. For many reasons. One, we knew that a linear approach is really frustrating to children, that if they want to learn about trains, then they should be able to go learn about trains. And if they want to learn about like the ocean, they should be able to learn about the ocean. And so when they follow the curiosity, they end up in places where they're more curious. And then we embed the learning in every single thing they do. I don't need them to learn about trains at a certain time in order to teach them the letter T. They will do it and they get exposed to it. So here is a child with learning about nails and how nails are made and what they're made out of. You will notice we're very proud of also our representation in our videos and making sure that children see a wide range of diversity of children, both race and gender represented in all of our videos, so they could see themselves reflected as well. And then they want to explore the topic and they're really curious about it, but this is really cool too. After every single video, they're served up a game. And when we're talking about these kindergarten readiness skills, we embed those skills. So now you learned the word, now you learned about nails and how nails are made out of. Now let's spell nails. And this is muted, but it teaches them the letter sounds, and they're dragging in, they're making it, and they're putting together the word, and it says the whole word for them. And so these small little activities, games are embedded with these emergent literacy and mathematics skills. Other skills that there's so many games that we have, but we're only going to show you a few. This is a matching game in which they match numbers so that they get exposure to recognizing math, to recognizing numbers. Obviously, another skill that they're assessed on. And then for that added level, for a child who's ready, we kind of show them equations. We have other games where they're counting and adding up, and there's more visuals with counters for them to see that add up. And then finally, there is also a corridor where they get to explore. We have a workshop room, a theater room, and that art room for children who want to delve deeper and learn in multiple ways as well. So for a child who's really interested in music or art, they can go explore and make their own creations. So you can see the level of thought and the level of care that was put into all of this. And really, when we're looking at every single thing, you sit there and and you're comfortable knowing that a teacher was involved in every script, in every selection of every image, in the writing of every lesson guide, in the selection of those keywords. A teacher was involved every step of the way. And so with that, we kind of elevate the resource itself, elevates the quality and reinforces those strong pedagogical practices in the classroom that when we're talking to Jennifer and her team, they were quick to recognize. And I think that's why we were here and launching this really strong partnership. So we thank you. We thank you for your time. I know there were questions coming through in the chat. Might defer to my team for the rest of that.
All right, I think some questions have been asked and answered. I don't know if anybody else has seen them. The Educator platform is web-based. So I'm just going to read out and jump in if there's anything else that you want to add to that. All of the content was created by MarcoPolo. So it's all of their videos. See, as I can go through here. Now I lost track of my questions as well. Some of you said it was blank. So when we were looking at the MarcoPolo School Edition, that second video that we went to, we did record this. So we will be able to send it out to you electronically so you can see the recording. If for some reason your connection didn't take, or there was a delay in your web environment, just wanted to make sure that you know that if you missed that side of it.
Which video was blank? The Beaver video?
No, it was when we switched from the MarcoPolo for Educators platform into the platform for the child-facing platform.
Okay.
Some folks, just a couple of folks mentioned that they couldn't see it.
Okay.
So since we recorded it, we've got it so that you can see it later on. Okay. There was a question about if children could reply back. Children are not making their own videos through this process. It's really that content that the teacher is giving to connect to the home. And there will be data dashboards so that you can see, did all of your children watch this? Is this a way that your families are responding to you sharing content with them?
And while children can't respond, we do have a feature called Let's Talk, which means that when a child likes a video, obviously the teacher can see in the data dashboard that they're watching the video, but they can also press the heart button. And that, if they're using it at home, can trigger a message to their family saying that the child is interested in this topic, and then gives the family the video and then access to some talk prompts. So for example, if they're watching video on earthworms, and they're like, and they press heart, a family member could be like upstairs working, they get a message saying, little Jennifer is interested in earthworms. Ask her later, has she ever seen an earthworm else, and where did she see earthworms? And they give them these talk prompts so that later on, when they're with their child, even if they weren't sitting next to their child when they were engaging with the app, they know what was happening, and then they could start a conversation as well.
Thank you. As I'm looking through here, just so that everybody understands, we are purchasing the access. The coalition has purchased access to these tools for every early learning classroom that contracts with us, whether you're a VPK only center or a school readiness center. And it's all of the families in your center that will have access to this. Now, Nermeen, we haven't talked about the age groups that this content is appropriate for. Do you want to speak to that before I go on to another couple of points?
So I will tell you that the age group that's appropriate for, and it was created for, was early childhood. So around 3 years old to I would say 6 years old, right? Can it be used older? I think it can, right? I've seen teachers use it in a second grade classroom, children with different learning needs. Can it be used younger than 3? I think they would find it engaging, but nothing in the research shows us that they find it is actually effective and necessary. So I am not against a teacher using it once or twice if it's available to her in her center or her school for like a toddler classroom that might be learning about like earthworms and they want to see one video. But that continuous use and part of that really integrated part of their curriculum on a regular basis, we think that it's better for the sweet ages like 3 to 5 years old.
Thank you. The other side of this is the family or child-facing app, the consumer-facing app. You might have heard in Nermeen's introduction that MarcoPolo has had this resource out that families could purchase it for $70 a family. or per app. It's a $69.99 value that the coalition is purchasing on behalf of your family. So there is no cost to the school, and there is no cost to the family to utilize this. And one of the things that I think is really interesting for me about this is I have seen drop-off and pickup times where you really want to connect as a teacher with those families, and everybody's in a hurry, but they always have their cell phone with them. So to be able to get that message that is heard and received and that the parent can act upon in the home, this tool is going to give you that. The parent can look at that little video message and watch a video with their child at home at the time that's appropriate for their family. And drop off and pickup times are rarely the time that you can have an in-depth conversation about learning about beavers in the classroom. It just is not the time to connect with those families. So I think that this tool is really a neat opportunity to bring those parents into the world that you're building for their children, and having them assist and learn that serve and return, the open-ended questions, how to discuss something with a young child. Because the more that child has those kind of opportunities in your classroom and at home, the better outcomes we have for children in the end. I know, when will we have access to it? I love that. Yay for my early adopters. We're going to have some training related to this. So that's kind of our next piece is training, because we want the teachers to be at the training. I know most of the time for our town halls, we end up with owners, directors, occasionally a lead teacher might be able to join us, but you're not always available. So when we send this recording out to you, feel free to share it with your teachers so that they can get an idea of what's coming. And then we will be sending out some training information as well to everyone. I'm just checking. Jamie, thank you. Will this work on our tablets? Yes, we have purchased for the VPK classrooms. We have purchased tablets, 2 tablets for every VPK classroom, because you're going to need to use them to conduct the STAR assessment next year. So we are anticipating that this tool will also be able to be used on those tablets. We're waiting for the delivery of those tablets, and headsets that are coming your way. We're really, really excited about this opportunity. We will talk in the training in more detail, and I'm sure as leaders in your own centers and sites, you'll understand that we're not anticipating that you're going to plop a child down with this tablet and have them go to town on videos. This is a tool in your guided instruction. So this would be something that you're working with the child on. So I did see a question, implications from DCF. That's how it is used in the classroom is going to be that challenge, but we do not anticipate this is all developmentally appropriate. You might have noticed that the videos that we've watched were 1 minute and 7 seconds long so far. There's nothing that is intensive, heavy screen time. And if you use this properly, it's going to promote that interaction, the exposure to vocabulary, the discussions with children, and the support of their inquisitiveness to where else can we follow this and follow their interests. So I think it will be a really, really exciting time. One of the things that I'm really excited to share with you all too is that because this is new in the state of Florida, it's not new globally, this content and this developmentally appropriate content, but it's definitely new in the state of Florida. The team at MarcoPolo has said that they want to hear feedback. So many of you have participated in pilot projects with us in all different ways and forms. Seminole County is kind of a pilot project at this point of asking for your feedback and asking for your guidance. I did see a note, you were asking if this has been aligned with every curriculum. It has not at this time, but you saw the drop down. So that's one of the things that we'll be looking at and looking for you to help us with is there something in your curriculum that you would really like a video on and it's not here? We want to be able to support all educators, regardless of the curriculum they use, because if they're using developmentally appropriate practices in the classroom, the content is up to you. What activities do you want to do? What information do you want to share? And so we want to be able to support that as we move forward. Are there any other questions that I've missed right now? Wonderful. All right, I'm sure, so will we be giving you accounts? Yes, as we go through the training, the centers will be telling us who the teachers are, and we'll work through an enrollment process. And then we also want you to encourage your families to enroll. We'll start with the teacher platform and having the classroom teachers confident in the use of this tool. And then the next phase would be to roll it out to parents. So we want to do this kind of in 2 phases. And we won't have 300 educators in one training. We want to have small enough groups that it's manageable. And since this is a technology company, Marco Polo is really willing to do this virtually with us. So we'll be sending out information about signing up teachers and moving in that direction. So there's more to come. This is a new project, and you can see on your screen right now, you might not have seen a lot of media coverage about our partnership. So we will be looking for stories from you all and information to share moving forward. Because the more families that know about this, the better results we get for children in our community as a whole. So your assistance and the classroom teachers' assistance in marketing this is going to be a really big opportunity for us. And we plan to keep sharing this with the media. So it's also a good competitive advantage for Seminole County providers to have and to share as you are looking to recruit teachers and looking to recruit more families for your centers, because I think being able to use this really unique, high quality tool is will put our partners in this community in a really great light and really do the right things for children and families that we're serving. Any other questions, Nermeen, content, Nomi, that you would like to share?
Just gratitude. Thank you so much for your time. Everybody's time and energy. I saw some curious smiles. People were watching, learning along. Thank you all for your time and for choosing us and for trusting us with the children in your classrooms.
Yep, and I echo exactly what Nermeen just said, and we're excited to roll this out and start granting access. And like Jennifer said, we'll work with ELC of Seminole and Jennifer, you specifically too, to make sure that we have a plan in place for those that are ready to get started. So we're ready and excited, and hopefully we'll have a first training by end of July, but we'll figure out all of those details soon.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I'm seeing lots of thank yous and excitement, which is what we were hoping for. We've been really, really excited, and we were hoping that you all would be as excited as we are. All school readiness providers at alignment with class will send out, we have the electronic version of the class alignment document. So when we send our follow-up, if it's okay with you all, Nermeen and Nomi, we'll send that so that providers can see that and share it with their classroom teachers, because we really believe that this is a strong tool to assist in some of the areas in class assessments that we've seen where teachers could use a little bit of a boost. And so we're really looking for this to be a tool to help them along in their professional development as well. And Nermeen, I really loved your comment that professional development is kind of embedded in here, because the questions are there. You can hear the questions from the character or in the materials that you offer. And so we're not all scientists. We don't all know everything that children ask about, but it's really exciting to be able to respond to a child with content that's valid and reliable and appropriate when they're expressing interest in something that perhaps we don't know about. And I think that that's really a great opportunity. All right. With that being said, thank you so much, Marco Polo, and all of you stay tuned for more, and we'll kind of move on to some housekeeping things now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you. So thanks for hanging with us. I know that was a lot of information, but I think that we're really, really excited about where this tool could take our classroom instruction and our connection with our homes. and the family engagement component of learning for young children. That being said, those of you who have not yet applied for our School Readiness Quality Grant, that is for school readiness specifically, those applications are due by the end of the day today. If you have not completed that, please do so, because this is a fiscal year 21-22 grant, and so today is the last day of this fiscal year. So I want to make sure that you have to be a contracted school readiness provider. It's a web-based application. Section 3 outlines the eligibility requirements, and you will have to upload receipts later on, but this is a way that we could utilize quality funds at the end of the fiscal year on top of all of the ARPA grants that you've received, and you can use it to improve quality in the way that you see fit. So I wanted to make sure that everybody had access to that and have been reminded that today is the last day. The next piece I wanted to let everyone know, we'll go to our next slide. There we go. ARPA grant. The American Rescue Plan Act grant comes out in 3 phases. Phase 1 ends today. So today is the last day. For those of you that recall, we had said you could pick the date that your enrollment was highest to put your application in place. Phase 1 ends today. So today is the last day for phase 1. Those of you who have applied, then your phase 2 payment will come in 90 days from your first payment, and phase 3 will be 90 days after that. But today is the last day for phase 1, the first 1/3 of that grant. So again, that was one that you applied for in the EFS mod portal. So I wanted to make sure that you are aware of that. Next piece in our housekeeping, workforce grant. So I have had conversations offline with many of you about recruitment, retention, and upskilling. And I am happy to tell you that we have been approved for a workforce initiative grant. And that workforce initiative grant has been extended. Well, we're waiting for approval, but it's extended through June 30th of next fiscal year, 2023. A little crazy to say that, but 2023 is what we're talking about now. That grant will be coming to you soon. We'll be releasing it probably next week. And there are 3 different ways that instructors in the classroom can be rewarded and use this grant. The first piece is sign-on bonuses for new hires. So if they complete the 45 hours DCF courses, the minimum required training, there's $675 available for them to complete that. And we know that that's been a barrier for folks coming into the field. So there are dates, even if they did these 45 hours in the last couple of months, we will allow it. So the specific date windows will open up for you when you have the application. There are sign-on bonuses for new hires that complete that training within 90 days of employment. And when they apply, if they're still with the same employer, that's part of it. We want them to sign on, complete the training, and stay with you. We want consistency for children. We also have a director bonus for successful onboarding or mentoring of new hires, because we noticed that we're doing a lot for the classroom teachers, but we know that this kind of work isn't done unless we have leadership in place that is recruiting and working to retain and keeping those teachers moving forward on their training and professional development. So we've added a director bonus component as well. For those that aren't new to you, we have upskilling. Let's go back to that one. Oh, I see, there's a delay. There's an upskilling component, and we have CCEI preschool track, infant toddler track, inclusion track, the BESE. There are 3 courses offered. So for staff members that you have in place, we have a number of professional development opportunities that we will pay them to complete. And these are pretty significant dollar amounts. To take the infant toddler track for CCEI, we'll pay $450 for them to complete that track of professional development component. All of these pieces are aligned with keeping your recruiting staff, upskilling your staff to impact those class scores, and the quality of education in the classroom, and then to retain staff. So the last component, we'll have Vpk Emergent Literacy Stipends for those folks that have had to complete some of those courses for emergent literacy to be qualified as a Vpk teacher for next year. There's a stipend that'll be included for that. We are scholarshiping for CDAs, and we'll pay for the textbooks and even the national CDA submission if you receive your FCCPC here in Florida. So we're working with Seminole State for those opportunities, and a stipend for the completion of your CDA course. So not only will we scholarship, but we'll give you a stipend for completing it. And then under retention, for current staff that complete at least one of the approved professional development trainings and have continuous employment with the same program, will have a $500 bonus. So we're trying to do lots of things to help you encourage your teachers to participate in professional development and to keep money flowing to them so that we don't lose them to other industries, because we know that it's a very competitive employment market right now, and we want to try and help. So this is a little bit of information. There is more to come because this is a very complex grant. We didn't want to roll it out June 15th to you and have an ending date of June 30th. So we waited until the state extended it into next fiscal year. So we will have essentially a 12-month or more period to work through this grant with you. So more details will be forthcoming to you in the very near future, within the next week or so. Okay. And I see some greats and some hoorays, so thank you. I'm glad that that will be helpful for all of you. All right, let's see. So we have some Vpk updates. I know those of you that are Vpk partners, the first thing I wanted to tell you is we're actually going to have a Vpk-oriented, very specific town hall next Thursday, because there's so much Vpk stuff going on that we want to make sure that you all have plenty of time for questions and answers and so on. But I did want to share a couple of updates for you and make sure that you're aware. So we'll jump to a couple of slides here. We've got, there's a little bit of a delay, sorry.
Just so you know, I clicked it like 20 seconds ago.
Ooh, feedback. Okay, so a little bit of a delay, no problem. First of all, wanted to let you know that previously we did not sign Vpk contracts until we could approve your teachers. But since we have to have new credentials or some new training on the transcripts for these teachers, we are going to go ahead and move forward with signing your 22-23 Vpk contracts, but we won't approve a classroom until we can approve the emergent literacy or standard training requirements for the lead teacher. So if the lead teacher in the classroom is not approved, then you can enroll children. So there's going to be a multi-step process this year in order to get your contracts done and focus on the teacher literacy component. So wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that. And Lori and Sandy and Stephanie will be working with you to get through that process, but we just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. We cannot verify the classroom until an approved lead instructor is listed. Okay. With that being said, there's been some good news. The state, you might have seen this in an email blast coming out, but a lot of you who had teachers trying to get the full 15 hours worth of emergent literacy courses were having trouble with the final in-person or facilitated discussion component. And so there is a new schedule coming out starting in July, so those will be coming, but the deadline had been July 1st of 2022. Obviously that has not happened. So what the state has done is propose new draft language to say that the teacher has to have the emergent literacy courses before the start date of their Vpk class. So that gives us a little more time for your teachers to get that third component or to take the class and get them all done. And again, we'll just do reminders regularly, but every 5 years, all of the VPK teachers will have to take an additional emergent literacy course. So every 5 years. So it won't be a one and done kind of a thing, but the language will be changing. Phonological awareness. There are 3 components in order to receive the full 5 credits of those 15 hours. There's a new calendar posted on the OEL website, DEL website actually, but they call it FloridaEarlyLearning.com. And we'll send this out to you electronically as well so that you have it. But we will be offering a virtual phonological awareness via Zoom on Wednesday, July 27th from 7 to 8 for Seminole County providers only. So this is only for our Seminole County providers because we have limited access and we have a lot of people that need to get this in. So we will be sending registration details for that as well. Okay. And then some additional Vpk trainings, Building Strong Foundations. We'll be offering that on August 4th from 3 to 6 p.m. That's another 5 hours of the emergent literacy training requirement that could be met there. Again, we'll send out registration information, but make note of those dates and times. And then our STAR literacy training, or the FAST, the Florida Assessment of Student, can't even remember what that stands for, I apologize. It's our new acronym. The lead teachers and directors are required to complete the training. Both directors and instructors are required to complete administration. A director who is also the VPK instructor should attend the director component. So if you are the lead teacher and the VPK director, make sure that you attend the director training because it adds a little additional information. And we'll go through this in greater detail, and certainly feel free to send questions ahead of time, but we'll really focus on this and your unique circumstances in our VPK Town Hall next Thursday. Right, so this is some information that came out about the FAST, the STAR literacy. FloridaEarlyLearning.com/VPK/FAST. And this is the literacy information that's coming out. We will send that to you after the webinar so that you have that information in follow-up. And again, we'll go over more information in our VPK only town hall, but wanted you to have some heads up on some movement. The FAST, it's Florida Assessment of Student Thinking. See, I get it eventually. The FAST using STAR Early Literacy, that Zoom webinar, there's an agenda here of what will be covered before the test administration, during the test administration, after the test administration, and exactly what to expect to administer that tool when you start your VPK program year in August. So there's a few steps to go through, and we are working diligently to try and have those resources that we can offer available to you. Lori did spend a lot of time in trying to coordinate to have Anna Gonzalez do some things for us. So we'll be sending out all of those registration for additional trainings for you all, and hopefully focus more on our VPK expectations with all of the changes and proposed rule in our meeting next week. Okay, let's see, are there any questions that I have not? Okay, will the new additional emergent literacy course for the 5 years need to be a DOE DCF course? They haven't finalized which courses, so right now it looks like it will be the same courses for that every 5 years, but we've got a little time before they put those into place, so I am not positive what will be allowable. Between now and then, they may promulgate rule to allow more courses to meet that 5-year emergent literacy expectation. Is FAST replacing assessments AP 1, 2, and 3? Yes. The STAR assessment will be part of the assessment of student thinking, and the class assessment and the child assessment components together will all be part of how we determine if you have gotten children ready for kindergarten, that it'll be a new way to calculate the VPK readiness rates, so to speak. Has the VPK rate changed for this coming year? Yes, the VPK rate has changed. I will make sure to have those numbers available in our town hall. We did have an increase. The legislature has increased how much we pay for VPK for next year, and I do not know the numbers off the top of my head for Seminole, but I can definitely have that for next week for you all. There is also an additional component where if VPK teachers are paid $15 an hour, there is even more funding that will come your way. We're still waiting on all of the rules. You would opt into that option, but we can send that information to you as well. Okay. Julie, we will look at where to find instructions on the FAST and that training. We'll do a little research on our side to make sure that we're fully prepared. I appreciate you sharing your questions and concerns now so that we have all of this to share with you in our meeting next week. All right. And any other questions that anybody has? We can go ahead and stop sharing, Cheyenne, if we're able to do that. All right, so we will get more information on that $15 an hour. They're promulgating rule related to that. We'll get more information on the VPK payment rates. Just to let you know about VPK payment rates, they set a rate at the state level, and then there's something called a district cost differential that they apply. So the rate that they pay in Orange County or Volusia County might be slightly different because the cost of living may be different in Seminole County. They do the same thing with the school districts, the public school districts. So I can get the exact number of what we will be paying for VPK rates for our meeting next week. I know that the governor signed the budget. We know what the flat rate is. I do not know what the rate is with the district cost differential so that we give you the exact correct number, but we'll have that for you. And does the $15 an hour pay include assistance? I don't know, but I'm going to look into it. This is all kind of new to us, so we are waiting for them to finish rule. Once everything is finalized, we'll know, but it's my understanding that it's lead teachers, but we'll look into that. They have drafted some language and then they change some things and go back. So until it goes before the State Board of Ed, the rules are not set in stone. So I know that's been a little bit of a change and it's a little hard to follow. It's a moving target, but we're watching it carefully. Anything else? So thank you so much. Please spread the word about Marco Polo. We will be sending out training information. We're really, really excited to share this all with you and your classroom teachers. We really hope that it will be a helpful resource and can't wait to get your feedback on it. With
Jennifer,
that being said,
sorry,
yeah.
You had the rule change in there and that slide didn't pop up for some reason. So do you want me to share that now or did you already touch on it?
Sure.
Okay.
For which?
Sorry about that.
Oh, for school readiness. Thank you.
And Jennifer, I had a question that was sent to me privately. Does the pay also include assistance?
Yeah, it is my understanding at this time it does not, but we will get the specific details on the rule and how those dollars are to be spent for our town hall next week. Okay. There is a change on school readiness on the side of the house that was interesting, a rule change that frankly I missed until our finance, Luz was able to share with me, that in the past for school readiness, we would pay no more than 3 absences per month. And then we would pay up to 10 days, so 7 additional, with a documentation, a letter, a mommy note, whatever we want to call it, a doctor's note, that the child was actually out for extraordinary circumstances. They have changed that rule to allow up to 10 additional days. So rather than a total of 10 absences that we would pay with a note in a month, we will actually pay up to 13. And just as a note, if the family, extraordinary circumstances, illness, injury, custody issues where they are required by court order to stay with another parent for a time period, but it doesn't include vacation or recreational time. So if family is taking a vacation, we can't pay for absences based on that, but we can for reasonable absences. And with COVID and everything, illnesses, flus, gastric stuff that's going around, we understand that children can be out for a little while. So this is good news that we can pay for additional absences as long as we have the documentation there. Thanks, Cheyenne, for sharing that. This one was news to me. It snuck through. I hadn't seen that one. So it's just hopefully more money coming into the centers to hold spots for children, even if they aren't able to be there. Right. And that one, that was for school readiness. That's specifically related to absences for school readiness. For VPK, we pay up to 20% absences for the month, and at the end of the year, we pay a full 20% of absences for the entire period. And that one's in rule for VPK. All right, thank you, everybody. I know this was a long day, and I appreciate you spending time with us, and look forward to talking with you with all of your VPK questions. Hang on to them. Feel free to email me, jgrant@seminoleearlylearning.org, if you have additional VPK questions that come to mind between now and next Thursday, so that we can do our best to give you all of the details related to our changing VPK landscape. Thank you for everything that you do every day and your energy for young children. We really appreciate it, and we very much appreciate your partnership. Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.